Janashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamsha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatham Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyasya Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Welcome to the Manah series. We are on the last part of discussion of Bhakti Vigyan Goswami Maharaj commentary on the first verse of Manah. Yesterday, we completed this discussion on attachment to Diksha mantras. I will just recap that and then we will continue. So Maharaj mentions how we should not be attached to material things. We should give up pride, cast away completely. And that means identifying ourselves with the material body and the material world. And the consciousness of Ishwaroham, Aham Bhogi, Siddhoham, Balvan Sukhi. So this is the consciousness we should cast away. And we should leave no contamination in the heart and develop the highest spiritual love. The highest spiritual love is what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in the Shiksha mentions, Ashlishava Padaratam Pinnashtumam. And love conquers all. So the story from the Puranas of a chaste wife who had a leper Brahmana husband, that story has been narrated by Maharaj, and we also saw the verses on that from the Chaitanya Charitamrita. Pushta Viprera Ramani, Pavitra Shiromani, Pati Lagi Kaila Vaishara Seva. Stambila Asturera Gati, Jaila Amritapati, Tushta Kaila Mukta Tina Dev. So this is the way by which we can conquer. And this basically means Anya Vilashita Shunyam. And Maharaj mentions that love has to be pure. Sometimes we come into spiritual life and spiritual movement and we want to enjoy the facilities, what the movement gives, or what we get, like enjoying, when you say, I enjoyed the prasad. So that spirit of enjoyment is still there. So, but we should even have the prasad as Lord has enjoyed Shishta in the form of Mahaprasad. So that should be our mood. So Maharaj then begins to explain the Gayatri mantra, because Diksha mantra is mentioned. It has three components. One is called as the Bija, which contains the seed of relationship, and it ends with Nama or Swaha, means surrendering and renouncing ourselves. And in the middle is the names of Krishna. So this beach will sprout when because it has that relationship with Krishna, and it will lead to surrender. It will lead to surrender. So then we explained, Maharaj explains about this statement of Mahaprabhu, Diksha Kale Bhakta Kare Atma Samarpan. Sei Kale Krishna Tara Kare Atma Samarpan. So this Diksha Kale refers to, when we completely surrender to the Lord. So it's not that at the official initiation ceremony, we are taking Diksha and at that time, Krishna Kare Atma Sama. No, it doesn't happen. We have began the process of surrender, but when we 100% surrender, that time, only at that moment, then Krishna makes one equal to himself. So this is how we have to understand this verse. And to substantiate this, Maharaj gives the example from the Jaiva Dharma, how these two heroes, Vijay Kumar and Prajanath, when they received the mantras from their spiritual master, they started crying. Tears started rolling from their eyes, started taking the name of Gauranga, Gauranga, Gauranga. His spiritual master also felt, I am purified today. And they underwent this transformation. They held a huge feast. And Mahaprabhu came to receive this, came to participate in this pastime of celebration. So there are these two conditions. Both parties should make effort. And especially when we get the mantra, we should make a long effort. And then it might take for us a little longer to see Lord Chaitanya. But basically that Vishaya Chadiya, Kabe Shuddha Hobe Man, that consciousness of being the enjoyer and enjoying sense objects, that is what the spiritual master operates, the cataract. Om Jnana Timarandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya. Then Maharaj goes to explain what is Dvija. The birds also have called as Dvija because first they are born in the egg, and the second birth is when they break the egg. Similarly, this figuratively is that although we take initiation, we are still conditioned by the modes. We have to break free. And then Guru helps us to break free the conditionings. And then we can experience, the freedom of the soul, the freedom of the soul. And to substantiate this important principle, Maharaj gives the example of Gop Kumar. How he received the mantra and started traveling to the heavenly planets, then Satyalok, and then he went to the Viraja, and from there to Vaikuntha, and from there to Dwarka, and then ultimately to Golok Vrindavan. So this is what the mantra can do to us. The mantra has the seed, in the form of a seed, the energy by which a tree can come out. Just like a seed has a energy by which the potency, the spiritual master puts his realizations and his energy in the mantra. And if it is sown in a fertile heart, then it will grow. But if it is sown in a barren heart, then it will not grow. Maharaj gives the example of how the potency of Srila Prabhupada's words affected one of the ladies who wrote a letter to her. She was crying when she was reading the big Bhagavad Gita because she was able to see that every word was true in the Bhagavad Gita. She had realized uh, uh, Prabhupada's statement, he says, my purports are my spiritual ecstasies. So that's how we should have this transformation. And the mantra has the potency to reveal transcendental knowledge. Divya Jnana Hridaya Prakashito. So this Divya Jnana, we should, try to cultivate that knowledge, Sambandha Jnana, because the mantra contains that Sambandha Jnana, and it develops our spiritual body. And Prabhupada speaks about how the mantra had effect in the pastime of Vivekananda. you know, the spiritual master touched the disciple, and some current flew, and both were unconscious. So this is all bogus. This is all nonsense. So we should have these four qualities. Four qualities are required for us to really get the effect of the mantra. One is we should have deep faith, we should have surrender, we should do mantra dhyan, and we should sacrifice in the spirit of self-sacrifice. Swaha, we should do this. And then, the mantra will act for us. So then Maharaj mentions again about the mantra and the story from Gop Kumar, how he moved forward and ultimately attained the lotus feet of Radha and Krishna. Such is the potency of the mantra. So here is what we had stopped our discussion. Now, in the next theme, paragraphs 134 to 140, attachment to the holy name, that is Shri Namne. So mantra is Diksha mantras, Shri Namne is the Hare Krishna Maha mantra. So the attachment to the holy names is going to be discussed. Okay, so let's begin this. Nam, the holy name, may fulfill any of our desires. Nama Chintamani it is. Nam is Chintamani, the philosopher's stone, which can elevate us to at any level. From the Padma Puran, it is mentioned. Nama Chintamani Krishna's Chaitanya Rasa Vigraha Purna Shuddho Nitya Mukta Bhinnatvan Nama Namina. So this is a very, very important verse from the Padma Puran, which mentions what kind of a substance is the holy name. Nama Chintamani. It is Chintamani. Krishna Chaitanya Rasa Vigraha. It is Krishna in the form of a Rasa Vigraha. Krishna has two forms. One is his Sachidanand form as a person, and he has his Nama form. And that Nam form is what? It's also filled with rasa. Just like Krishna is also Akhila Rasamrita Murti, the Nam is also equally the same. So Krishna has taken two forms. One is Sachidanand form, which is also Akhila Rasamrita Murti, and another in the form of Nam, which is also Chaitanya Rasa Vigraha. Please remember, Nam is a person, Vigraha. And what is another quality? It is Purna Shuddha. It's completely pure. Nitya Mukta. It is ever eternally liberated. And there is no difference between Nam and Nami. The person and his name. There is no difference. So these are the spiritual ingredients of the name. So as long as one doesn't take the holy name with understanding of this Nama Tattva, he'll not be able to relish the holy name, experience Nam Rasa. So there's a lot to speak on this. Bhaktivinoda Thakur in Sri Harinam, goes quite exhaustively into this explanation of this verse. And that's a separate topic in itself, but I just summarized a few points. So my question to all of you is, if we are taking the name, then what should be our experience when we take the name? Because these are the 4 qualities which I mentioned just now. So what should we experience when we take the name of Krishna? What should we experience? I explained the 4 qualities, which 4 transcendental ingredients, spiritual ingredients, which is mentioned in this verse. So what's your thoughts about this? Anyone would like to try? Yes, Vesele Prabhuji. Yeah.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
This is more of a guess. Bliss.
Pardon? Bliss.
Bliss.
Because, yes, we should experience spiritual ecstasy, rasa, because it is Krishna Chaitanya Rasa Vigraha. And it is ever liberated. It is not conditioned. And there is no difference between Krishna and his name. Krishna is Sachinananda, Nam is also Sachinananda, Rasa Vigraha. It is in fact more merciful than Krishna. It is in the form of liquid rasa. So we should experience bliss or ecstasy, and because we are experiencing that bliss and ecstasy, there should be transformations in the heart, tears coming from my eyes, our eyes, hair standing on end, all the Ashtasattvic vikar should manifest. So if this is not happening, what does it mean? If this is not happening when we are taking the name, what does it mean? What does it mean? Yes, Krishnapat Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Prabhuji, as we heard in Harinam seminars, it means that we are not taking the name at all.
We are not taking the name at all. It is not Nam. It is not name at all. Then what is it? It's not Nam. So then what it is?
It is a material sound vibration we are making from our mouth.
Yes, yes. So that's what the point is. So this verse is to be deeply meditated and understood the deep purport. So it is not Nam, it is Namaprad, or at best Namabhas. So that's why we should carefully study this verse, meditate on this verse, and even while chanting Abhinnatvam Nama Namina, having this understanding that, when I'm taking name, Krishna is there present in the form of holy name, so I should be fully attentive. So these are the things we should meditate upon. But Raghunath Das Goswami appeals to us to develop pure attachment, to change our attitude from how can I benefit from it to what am I supposed to do? Am I supposed to want the highest love? Not nothing else, only love for Krishna. There is one hand raised. Yes, Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, can you hear me?
Yes.
Prabhuji, my question is the
I don't know
Ashtasattvic
why
Vikar.
I'm lowering the hand and unmuting you, but it's not working. I think yesterday also there was some problem from your side.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, now.
Prabhuji, my question is that the Ashtasattvic Vikar that are mentioned, it may happen that when we are at a very, like, for example, you can talk about me, or when we are at a very lower stage of bhakti, those Ashtasattvic which Vikar will not manifest. So they can they be mimicked by our material emotions?
Yes, Mataji.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
So I just want to ask the Ashtasattvic Vikar, they are manifested in a very highest stage of bhakti. And like till we reach that stage, whenever we feel any tears or whatever, so can they be just material emotions and they can be mimicked, and we can be kind of strayed?
Usually, what we see is when we take up the spiritual life, we experience a certain kind of happiness and bliss, which is not the experience what we have with the material happiness, something very unique. And that's what attracts us to more spiritual life. And that's how we take to the practices of chanting, hearing, and all. But as we are in the association of devotees, as we take up to the practices, then we are inattentive, neglectful, and we see faults in Vaishnavas, we commit offenses, and that's why the taste doesn't come up. So that's why we have to go through that phase of struggle. But with this Sambandha Gyan and knowledge, when we do our practices, then we can get the results quicker. Of course, the anarthas and the aparadhs which we have committed in this life while practicing and in the previous lifetimes, that has to be eradicated by the very process of chanting. But most important is to act in Sambandha Gyan. The more we sincerely, with all our efforts and with this knowledge, we chant the holy names, then definitely we can experience the effects. And sometimes, Bhaktivinoda Thakur mentions that somebody takes up a spiritual practice and he straight away, goes to Nishtha, he says. How is that? We might think if he doesn't commit offenses and is very attentive in his chanting, his Shraddha will mature into straight Nishtha. But if his heart is not pure and he commits offenses, then he has to go through that Bhajan Kriya, Nirtya Vritti and all these stages. So yes, it's, artificially, if you try to exhibit these symptoms, then that is Sahajism. But if we are experiencing even a glimpse of these things in our chanting, they might not be the highest stage of the manifestations which happen at the stage of bhava, but definitely they are indications that we are making advancement, and these are good indicators, you can say. But we should not artificially mimic them. That's the point. Is it okay, Mataji?
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you.
So Raghunath Das is saying that we should develop only true love. The true attachment to the holy name is when I chant, it is in such a mood. It is such a mood. But there can be bhakti nam, which is when the holy name gives bhakti, material enjoyment, and there is mukti nam, when the holy name gives us liberation. That's why in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu it is mentioned bhukti mukti spurha yavat pishachi ridhi vartate. So this desire for mukti and bhukti is like a pishachi. It is a demoness, Pishachi. And Rup Goswami is very heavy in comparing this. My goodness, the desire for mukti also is like a Pishachi, which is the highest goal enumerated in the Upanishads. Tavat sukasya, bhakti sukasya. Till then, these desires are there. How can you relish bhakti? Bhakti here means Shuddha Bhakti. Abhido Bhaivait. So, ultimately, because when we chant, these desires are there, and that's why we are not able to experience. So, we should constantly endeavor, although in our conditioning, these desires are there. I am performing this chanting for the pleasure of Radha and Krishna. This should be our reflection. This should be our meditation. Although Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, when I chant the holy name, Nama bina kichu nahi chauda bhuvane. I experience such happiness that, I don't want anything in this 14 planetary systems, not even the post of Brahma. If you're offered the post of Brahma, you'll say, Tuchya, I don't want it, because he is experiencing that kind of taste in now. But we don't have that experience. We want so many things in this world only. What to speak of post of Brahma? We don't even think about, having a post of Brahma. So our meditation is that I don't feel like this. I feel miserable while chanting, but because it gives pleasure to Krishna, I will chant. So this should be our mood while chanting the holy names. Next paragraph. When we are chanting the holy name, we should be asking Krishna, 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 bring me closer to you. Krishna, purify my heart. Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, when chanting the holy name, we should not have any desires. Yes, at least while chanting the holy names or while doing devotional practices, any of the angas. It's exclusively for the pleasure of Guru, Vaishnavas, and Krishna. But we can still have one desire, the desire to purify ourselves. At first, Prema Bhakti seems like a very abstract thing. Yes, it is true. Prema Bhakti seems very abstract. So, in the definition of Sadhana Bhakti, Kriti Sadhyat Bhave Sadhya Sa Sadhana Vidha. So, Sadhana Bhakti is executed to attain Bhava Bhakti. And Anya Abhilashita Shunyam is the definition of Uttama Bhakti. So, Bhaktivinoda Thakur mentions that we perform Sadhana Bhakti with no other desire, but we can have the desire that I can attain by practicing Sadhana Bhakti, Bhava Bhakti. This kind of a desire is a favorable desire. Or I can purify myself and attain Prema Bhakti. So the desire to purify, and this should be our mood of chanting. That's why sometimes you can have, templates, of a Narsimdev template, in front of you, where it is prayer to Narsimdev, please purify my heart, which is filled with desires for bhakti and mukti, and give me Krishna Prem. So this kind of a prayer, template you can have, pray, and in a prayerful mood, start chanting the holy name. But while here chanting the holy name, you should not see the template and meditate on it, but you should just hear the mantra. So this one desire we can have. If love is too abstract, then at least when we are chanting the holy name, we should have this desire. Krishna, make my heart pure. Next paragraph. When we chant the holy name, we should feel that something is saving us. Rupa Goswami glorifies the holy name in Namashtaka as the only thing that can save us. He says, "Oh Krishna, you manifest in two forms, Vacha and Vachaka." This is a very important concept. Please try to understand this. You can be an object of description, Vacha. Vacha means an object of description, like Krishna himself. And your second form is Vachaka, the name. So the name is Vachaka, and the object which is described about it the object of description that is called as Vacha. Vacha and Vachaka. They are non-different, but nevertheless, there is some difference. I'll give you another example to explain Vacha and Vachaka. Now, Bhagavad Gita, the words which are there in Prabhupada books, they are, Vachaka. And they describe about Krishna. So Bhagavad Gita in one sense is non-different from Krishna. Is non-different from Krishna. Now among these two, Vacha and Vachaka, they are non-different. Maharaj has established. So there is Krishna and there is name of Krishna. Among the two, Nam, that is the holy name, and Krishna, the person, which is more merciful? Who will answer this? And why, you have to say. Which is more merciful? Let me ask, devotees so that to see who all are attentively hearing. Shaila Satam Prabhuji. Which is more merciful among the two? Person Krishna or the name Krishna?
What?
Pardon?
What?
I'm not able to hear you clearly. Haribol?
One. Krishna?
Yes, now it is better.
Yes, so both Prabhuji. Krishna and Krishna's name.
Yeah, but among the two, which is more merciful? Krishna is more merciful or the name is more merciful?
I think name.
Why?
Because in Kali Yuga, name has more potency.
Yes, that's true. Okay. Yeah, among the two, yes, it is. Okay, somebody would like to answer. Let's see. Okay. Yes, Rasparani Mataji. Let's. Yes.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, the name is more merciful because I think it is said Nam Akari Bahuda Nija Sarva Shakti. I mean, it is invested with all the potencies of the Lord.
Yeah, so there is non-difference. Again, you are coming to that point. There is something deeper that the name is more merciful. Okay, one more hand has been raised. Let us ask. Yes, Reena Mataji.
हरे कृष्णा प्रभु जी, दंडवत प्रणाम। हरिनाम, शुद्ध हरिनाम से हम भगवत धाम जा सकते हैं।
That's not the point. That's not the point. The point is only one. Among name and Krishna, name is more merciful. But why name is more merciful? And why Krishna?
Because in presence of Krishna, like example like Ravan and Kansa, they didn't recognize Krishna. So
that's not the discussion.
Not benefited.
That's not the discussion. That's not the discussion. Yes, Krishna Path Prabhuji. Yes.
Hare Krishna. Prabhuji, Lord Krishna in his personal self is not accessible directly to us. But holy name of Lord Krishna is accessible to us even within this conditioned world.
Yes, that's true. There is something deeper to that also. Jagdishwar Prabhuji. Where are you? Yes, Jagdishwar Prabhu. Yes. Okay, Archana Mataji. Yes.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavad Pranam. Based on our discussion up till now, I think by chanting holy name, you not only purify yourself, but you try to identify your sambandha with Krishna. So that could be one reason why your name is so. It is the mediator which will connect you directly to the Krishna.
Yeah, all are true, but the deeper reason is that Krishna refuses to enter the heart, which is filled with all contamination. Krishna will only come and reside in a pure heart. But the Naam is more merciful than Krishna because the Naam enters the heart, cleanses the heart, and then Krishna, not in the form of name now, Krishna in the form of person, then enters the heart. So Krishna refuses to enter the heart because the heart is contaminated. But the Naam is so merciful, Naam doesn't say, okay, I will still enter. So that's why when we are chanting the holy name, you should allow Krishna in the form of Naam to enter the ears and go deep in the heart. And that's why we should chant attentively. So this is the most important point. Let's see what Maharaj has to say. The difference is that the name is more merciful than Krishna himself. So this is also the point what Maharaj is making. We can offend Krishna, but if we start crying Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, we can get tears of ecstasy. We can offend Krishna and we can offend the holy name, but the holy name can even forgive the offense we have committed towards God. So this is another angle. Maharaj is explaining how the Naam is so merciful. So if you offend Krishna and you chant, we'll experience ecstasy. And if you have offended Krishna, we offend the holy name. But the holy name can forgive the offense we have committed to Krishna. The holy name can deliver us from numerous offenses. Krishna doesn't forgive the offenses, what we do. Therefore, such is the mercy of Krishna. And that's why we should not commit offenses to the holy name. And our problem is that we commit offenses to the holy name. Therefore, when we are chanting the holy name, we should have this feeling that something is saving us. Next paragraph. Jiva Goswami says that in Kali Yuga, persons can only become great devotees under the condition that they serve the holy name and give it to others. No, this is a very important point mentioned. Actually, when you are chanting, it is Nama Seva you are doing. And when you are doing Nam Seva, you cannot do anything else. You cannot get distracted by anything else. Otherwise, it will become Nama Prat. So only one who does Nam Seva can preach, Prabhupada says. So the more you give Nam to others, then you get mercy. We should give the holy name out of mercy, out of compassion, and in the right way, in a joyful way. So that's why a Madhyamadhikari only can preach, because he is able to relish Nam and he is experiencing the rasa in Nam and he wants to share it with others now. That is preaching. Next paragraph. It is said that the holy name is the Angi of devotional service. There is Anga and Angi. Krishna is called as Amshi and we are called as Amsha. He's Amshi, he's the source of all Amshas. So similarly, holy name is what? Angi. A nectar of devotion, Rupa Goswami enumerates 64 Angas or limbs of bhakti. But chanting the holy name is not Anga. It is Angi, the body itself. Chanting the holy name is the most important part of devotional service and the most essential thing we can do. If we do it properly, in a proper mood, in a proper state, we can get everything. Tara Madhe Sarvashreshth, Nama Sankirtan, Niraprada Namaloy, Pai Pirimadan. Among all the limbs, Nama Sankirtan. Niraparad. That's the point there. If you take Niraparad Nam, you'll immediately get Premadhan. Okay. Next paragraph. Ramanand Rai and Sarup Damodar asked Lord Chaitanya, how should one chant the holy name to receive prem? What is the method of chanting the holy name? What is supposed to be happening in the heart? We also chant the holy name, but feel no prema. Yes. So these questions were asked. How to chant the holy name so that we can attain Paye Prema Dhan? And what is the method and what should happen in the heart? So these were the questions asked. Now you'd like to know the answer? What Mahaprabhu said? It's very important. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu smiled and said, what is the method of chanting the holy name to receive prema? Anyone can answer now. Let us see whether your answer matches with what Mahaprabhu said. What is the method of chanting the holy name to receive prema? Who will answer this? Varsha Mataji, I would like to ask devotees.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji Dandapam.
Yes.
I think we should hear Naam clearly and means Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. We chant and hear it properly. It will goes to our heart through our ears, and that's why we can.
I got the point. We should chant attentively. Shaila Satam Prabhuji, what is the formula for chanting prem?
Hare Krishna Prabhu. So yesterday we discussed 4 ways to chant. Like we should meditate upon the sounds of the Naam, and we should be doing attentively chanting by lost of our heart, and putting our heart into the name of Hare Naam. And
yeah, that's true also. Reena Mataji, yes.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Actually, we chant holy name, but we doesn't consider the holy name and the Lord is same itself. So we couldn't. We should attentively chant, of course, but we also consider that the Lord's name and Lord is same itself, and the Lord is present there. So we have to attentively and in respectful we have to chant.
Okay. So let us see what Mahaprabhu answers. All are ready to hear what Mahaprabhu is going to answer. Mahaprabhu smiled and said, what is the method to chant to receive prema? Trunadapi sunichena tarorapi sahishnuna amanina manadena kirtaniya sadahari. If we chant the holy name in this humble state of consciousness, in this state of mind, prema becomes attracted by this chanting of the holy name. So these are again the 4 qualities we need. Humble than the blade of grass, more tolerant than the tree, offering all respects to others, and not expecting. At least among these 4, we should try to practice the 3rd and the 4th one. Give respect to others and not expect in return. At least these 2 we should start in our sadhana practice. But actually at the stage of Nishtha, these qualities, these divine qualities, at the stage of Nishtha, one becomes self-realized and he realizes that he is the soul. Vidya Vinay Sampanne, Brahmani Gavihasini, Suni Cheva Sopakecha, Pandita Samadarshana. Because he is now in this state of consciousness, he naturally is humble and he is tolerant and he always gives respect to others and never expects. So that is naturally happening to someone, and only such a person can attain Krishna Prem. So we as sadhakas should try to practice amanina, manadina, slowly. And then, we'll be crushed like that snake who became the disciple of Narad Muni. And then our tolerance will be tested. And then slowly, purification will happen. And then when we actually live this verse, then we will get Krishna prem. So this is the point which Maharaj makes. Okay, this is the last theme now, attachment to the divine couple. Guru Goshte Goshtalesu Sujane Bhuswaragane Swamantre Shinamne Vraja Nava Yuva Dvanda Sharane. So this is the last theme. Okay, so let us discuss this paragraph 141. Raghunath Das Goswami says, "O my mind, take shelter of the divine couple of Vrindavan, Shri Radha Krishna. Such shelter is the reason why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to this world. Nowhere else can we get what we can get from Lord Chaitanya, because lots of people worship Krishna. The Shri and the Madhva Sampradayas worship Krishna. The Ramanuja Sampradaya worships Krishna, and the Nimbar Sampradaya worships Radha and Krishna. Only among the four Sampradayas, the Nimbak Sampradaya worships Radha and Krishna. But nowhere are Radha Krishna worshipped as Lord Chaitanya's followers do. The mood in which Gaudiya Vaishnavas worship Radha Krishna, that mood is not there. What is the difference between worshipping Krishna and worshipping Radha Krishna? When he is by her side, his heart is all syrup. When he is by her side, he gets sweeter. When Srimati Radharani is by his side, he is even sweeter because he feels she loves him. Please mark this point. When you know that somebody loves you, how do you feel? You feel happy. You feel joyful at heart that this person loves you. Because the spiritual master loves their disciples, so disciple feels that. So similarly is Krishna's state when he's next to Radharani, because he knows that Radharani loves Krishna. And when he feels her love, he's eager to become sweeter. It is said that when Radha is approaching Krishna, she makes him get sweeter. And when Krishna gets sweeter, she loves him even more, and Krishna becomes even sweeter. This is a chain reaction. Krishna Das Kaviraj Goswami says that this situation is the paradox of love. He says that one of the paradox of spiritual love is that it is eternal. But despite being eternal, it is ever growing. It is impossible to understand how something infinite may be ever expanding. How can Krishna's everlasting sweetness become even sweeter? So this is how it's unfathomable for us to understand. So in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami gives a whole pastime of how this happens. I'll just narrate it briefly. It is mentioned that when Krishna is coming from the forest, the gopis dress very beautifully, so that not that they should look beautiful, so that seeing them, Krishna feels happy. So that's why they dress beautifully. And especially when the gopis dress like this and they go, so that they can be seen by Krishna. And when Krishna is coming from the forest and he sees the gopis feel happy because they have made Krishna happy. So seeing now Krishna that the gopis are feeling happy, he becomes more happy. And seeing that gopis, feel, oh, Krishna is now more happy. So they become more happy. And then now Krishna sees that the gopis are more happy, he becomes more happy. And this goes on, ever expanding. Ananda Ambudhi Vardhanam. And there is no limit to this. This goes on ever expanding. So don't feel that, Krishna's beauty, once we have tasted in the spiritual world, that beauty is, we have seen it. So next time, we will not relish it much. It goes on, the relish goes on increasing higher and higher, because Krishna beauty goes on expanding and expanding and expanding. Whereas any beauty in this material world, because it is temporary, it is material, initially we might see it as beautiful, just like a beautiful woman when she's very young. You find it very beautiful first time when you see, but not every time when you see. The beauty keeps on fading. And when that same beautiful woman becomes an old lady, you know what happens, right? So the real beauty is of the soul and the soul's perception of, the spiritual reality. So this is how, Mahaprabhu gave this mood for us. Next paragraph. Here, Raghunath Das Goswami says, try to understand that you should get attached to them, not just Krishna. And repeatedly in the Manashiksha, he is going to make this point. Vraje Radha Krishna. Radha and Krishna together. We should get attached to Radha and Krishna, because in this case, Srimati Radharani enables us to taste Krishna's sweetness more than we can. So this is the confidential secret. Radharani helps us to taste Krishna's sweetness. And it is only Radharani who can experience that taste, the sweetness of Krishna. And Krishna hankers, what is that, taste she is experiencing? Even I want to experience. And that's why Krishna comes in the form of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Prabhupada Saraswati compares Krishna's sweetness to a drop of ocean of sweetness one experiences when seeing Krishna and Srimati Radharani together. The miracle that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu bought and gave us is a chance to worship this love. In Chaitanya Charitamrita Adi Lila, Srila Prabhupada writes that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu didn't come to give people ordinary religion. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu doesn't care. He's indifferent to ordinary religions. So Maharaj gives that example. He had an experience how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has not come to give this ordinary religion. He says, during a Rath Yatra celebration in Ivanovo, I think this is some city in Russia, I got a glimpse of what the Lord's indifference to ordinary religion might be like. Ivanovo is a poor town. According to statistics, it is the poorest town in Russia. For a parade, a businessman who had arranged for the Rath Yatra to be held bought boxes of bananas and oranges to be distributed from the chariot. The guest of honor was supposed to give the bananas and oranges to the crowd of hungry Ivano residents who had only seen bananas in pictures and books and had eaten oranges only in their early childhood, which they had received from Santa, maybe during the Christmas celebration. Everybody was quite indifferent to the festival. They were indifferent to the Rath Yatra festival until we started to throw the bananas, and then the crowd became really enthusiastic. Immediately, the people developed a Purvarati, an extraordinary attachment in their hearts, and everyone went running after the chariot. In the first 6 minutes, I relished handing out the fruits. I felt like God. There was a crowd around me, stretching out their hands, crying, give me, give me. People are smiling, praying, quivering, and you couldn't help but feel so generous, magnanimous, and able to make anyone happy. This was Maharaj's experience. Finally, if I wasn't giving in the way they wanted, people started pulling and poking me as if saying, can't you see? I want a banana. And it went on for 2 hours until the bananas were gone. And then suddenly, all at once, they lost interest in me. Nobody cared about me anymore. I remained the same, but the bananas were gone. So this is, shows, Maharaj explains Therefore, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, ordinary religion, where people serve God just to get something from him, is not interesting. No one needs such religion. We only need pure love. It is pure love that can make us happy. Here, Raghunath Das Goswami is begging his mind, my mind, try to understand what you need. You don't need anything else. You don't need bananas, dates, pears, diamonds, emeralds. You only need love for Krishna. So this is the real need of the soul. You can only get pure love if little by little you develop attachment. So that's the point Maharaj makes. So that ends our discussion on verse 1. So we spent quite a lot of time on verse 1. In fact, verse 1 is the most important verse for sadhakas. One should repeatedly study verse 1, and especially the commentaries. And after a few years, we can start, little experiencing the results. And we will begin verse 2 from next week. Verse 2 is quite brief, and it will not take many classes. Verse 3 and 4 also is same. But verse 5, 6, and 7, again, we'll be going more in detail how to become free from these subtle impurities. That's very interesting. So from here on, we will try to move quickly through the discussion of Manashiksha. Any questions or clarifications up till now, what we discussed? Okay, so then we will stop here. I'll just summarize the whole commentary of Maharaj before we wind up. So Bhakti-Vedanta Goswami's commentary is very exhaustive and one should study. Maybe one can study one particular theme, and that will help us to go deeper into this understanding. Maharaj begins with how we should develop a rag for Raja, Radha, Krishna. And there are these two paths, which is taught by Mahaprabhu. The external path, Vakreshwar Pandit Gopal Guru Goswami, and the internal path, the esoteric path to Raghunath Das Goswami, which is Manashiksha. And then he gives the prelude, Dhammam Hitva. But for that, the mind is the greatest obstacle. So he goes into a whole analysis of the mind, how the mind works, and how we have to become an observer and not react the three ways. So Maharaj explains quite in detail about how we should deal with the mind and instruct the mind to give up pride. Give up this pride. We have to beseech the mind to give up this pride. Sada Dandam Hitma. And this pride has the 6 elements. And Maharaj used many examples to understand how these 6 elements of pride are there. And then Maharaj, okay, give up pride, and then what? This is the negative instruction. The positive is develop attachment to Guru. And by developing attachment to Guru, we see our own faults and our anarthas get purified, and we develop the mood of the spiritual master, Guru. And then develop attachment to Diksha mantras. And we discussed this elaborately about the whole science of the Diksha mantra, how we should thoroughly study, those who are second initiated, about the Diksha mantra. And today we took the explanation of Shri Namni, how we should meditate on this verse of Nam Chintamani Krishna's Chaitanya Rasa Vigraha while chanting the holy name. If we are not experiencing the symptoms, that means we are chanting with offenses. So we should work to chant the holy name with great attention, with great respect, that the Lord is present before me when I'm chanting. The Lord is sitting in front of me and hearing. I'm chanting for their pleasure. So in this mood, when we chant, then we can get prema if we follow this verse of Shikshashtaka. And then developing attachment to not just Krishna, Radha and Krishna. Why? Because Krishna is more sweeter when he's with Srimati Radharani. And this is the highest religion Mahaprabhu came to taught, not the ordinary religion. Dharma projita kaitavo paramo nirmit saranam satam. Prema pumarto mahan. So very systematically Maharaj has explained this. So we will stop here. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Shri Manah Shiksha ki jai. Shri Raghunath Das Goswami ki jai. Hare Krishna.